For thousands of years, there was only one way of crossing this Spartan landscape in the vast, dusty heat of North Africa. This was it. It was used by the Greeks, the Romans, the Berbers, the Phoenicians, the Vandals, the Arabs, the Carthaginians, the Ottomans, the French, the Tuareg, the Italians, and the British. But then, in 1968, the camel's 4,000-year monopoly was ended by the Peugeot 504. Many people imagine it was Land Rover or Jeep that brought internal combustion to the world's most impregnable backwaters, but really, it was this. The King of Africa, as they called it. Yes, it had good ground clearance and parts were cheap. But what really endeared this mighty Peugeot to Africa was its rugged dependability. You regularly hear tales around these parts of 504s that have done 1 million kilometers and which have been to places that no Land Rover could reach without falling to pieces. 40 years ago then, Peugeot was a byword for sturdy toughness and common sense. But then, in 1983, Peugeot decided it didn't want to make strong, sturdy, beige cars anymore. It wanted to throw off its sensy panties and be sporty and frivolous and fun. So it completely changed direction. It employed a brilliant chef de suspension and came up with cars like this, the 505 GTI, a sports saloon to rival any BMW. And then there was the 405 MI16, which sounded like it was a machine gun, and it went like one. But best of all, Peugeot gave us this. The phenomenal 205 GTI, a car that was fast, even with James May at the wheel.
Was this the best hot hatchback of the 80s? Well, it was definitely a contender, wasn't it? It's still good. It's hard to believe that this was made by the same people who did the 504, made by the same species even. But this wasn't the first time that Peugeot had completely changed its mind about what it wanted to be.
The company began in 1810 making steel, and it was very, very good at it. So good that in 1840 it decided to start making wooden pepper grinders. Now they were the best pepper grinders in the world. So naturally, in 1852, Peugeot started to make corsets. And then 30 years later, it thought, no, what we actually want to make are bicycles.
And this is what they came up with, and it is brilliant. It is a superb bicycle. But naturally, having made a superb bicycle, the next logical step was to become a manufacturer of munitions.
The shells they made were excellent, world-class, but then the Second World War broke out, the Germans arrived, and Mr. Peugeot decided he didn't want to make munitions anymore. In fact, he didn't want to make anything. So one night, he laced his factory with explosives and blew the entire place to smithereens.
After such a varied history, it's hardly surprising that Peugeot should make this sudden swerve from building dependable workhorses to exciting sporty cars like the 205 GTI. And nor is it surprising, given the quality of their steel and their grinders and their corsets and their bicycles and their munitions, that they were unbelievably good at it. A turbocharged four-wheel drive version of the 205, called the T16, won 16 rounds of the Rally Championship, beating the might of Ford, Audi and Lancia with 2 back-to-back world titles. And back in the showroom, the sporty cars kept on coming. Peugeot was on a roll. But then, one day, in Paris, there was a meeting.
Messieurs, the time has come for us to stop making this sporty car.
Mon Dieu.
Sacre bleu. But what shall you do instead?
Coat hangers, umbrella.
How is this for a plan? We make terrible cars. In every way, horrible.
Maybe très ugly.
Oh, well.
The engine très horrible.
Oh, nasty, unreliable, uncomfortable. Et l'intérieur, fabrique en spit et Kleenex.
Spit et Kleenex, oui.
Ouais. C'est une bonne idée, n'est-ce pas? Oh, oui. Ne regardez pas un cadeau de cheval dans la bouche.
Monsieur, salut la voiture horrible.
Oh! And get the chef de suspension up here so we can fire him immediately. Oh, yes. This breakfast meeting will put Peugeot on the map for many years to come. Make no mistake. This is what resulted. Cars like the hateful 1007, the absurd 407, the woeful 607, and the shockingly bad 3008. Cheaply made, sloppy handling, lackluster dung, the lot of it. The adverts changed too. Out went the burning cornfields and the jumping 205s, and in came tosh like this.
Buy a car! 4 wheels and some seats for just £99 a month with £1,000 cash back plus another £2,000 cash back. Easy finance and a free, yes, free, locking petrol filler cap. APR 29.4%, subject to terms and conditions. You must be able to sign your name to have a car. Your knees may be at risk if you do not keep up repayments.
The results were immediate. Sales went through the roof. Peugeot may have been good at making sturdy cars and sporty cars, but it seemed they were absolutely brilliant at making terrible cars.